Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We come to you on this chilly evening, Monday evening. And today we bring you one of our hot topics. And then before we dive right into the topic, I would like for us to first pray so that we invite God to be with us. Can we pray? Kuba bonke oThixo akekho enjengawe moya oyingcwele siguqe phambi kobuso bakho namhlanje Thixo wethu sithi Thixo namandla onke siyabulela ngoba Thixo usithwele kwade kwayile mini sibulela Thixo namandla onke kuba sivuswe nguwe Thixo wethu sibulela Thixo namandla onke for always showing us your unconditional love Thixo namandla onke sithi ke Thixo namandla onke naxa siqala le session namhlanje sicela Thixo wethu ukuthi sithwalwe nguwe sikwazi uba Thixo namandla onke siphefumule Thixo wethu ngenxa yezinto zakho Thixo namandla onke siphefumule God ukuze Thixo abantu beve Thixo namandla onke the message that you are sending through us ke Thixo wethu siyabulela moya oyingcwele ngawo konke ngalo wasifelayo ngesu Kristu inkosi yethu amen.
Amen.
Okay, so as I said, into yobana today we're bringing you a topic, and the topic here too is sizawulidelwa ngu-Sister Zipho zethu. The topic here today namhlanje is constructing a better world. It's such an interesting topic indeed. It's a hot topic, Sister Zipho, because I feel like it's such a broad topic and it's something found that we really need to in making sure that we live in a better world. Yeah, well, so I think let me give you a chance so that was introduce it, and then you can just dive right into the topic.
Thank you. Greetings to everyone, warm greetings to everyone that's joining online. My name is Zipho Robiyana. I am originally from East London, was born and bred in East London. However, I am based in Cape Town since 2008. So the reason why we can actually talk about constructing a better world is because there's each and every one of us that is gifted or has a special gift or a talent in which we can make our world or in our little corner a better place. There's also struggles that each and every one of us have faced, especially in the country, especially South Africa, things such as poverty, the high unemployment rate, and a lot of social ills that affect us as a community. So constructing a better world aims to really speak to those social ills and to also speak to how then we can do and not depend on government to actually do handouts for us as a community, because we believe that it is actually our sole responsibility or our duty as citizens to actually do or rebuild our communities or rebuild the world that we want to see for ourselves first, and also for our children and for the next generation to come. So that is what ideally constructing a better world is about. So it's about what you can do in your corner to make sure that the world that you're living in is better, or you live it in a better condition than in what you found. Yandisa, your mic is on mute.
Thank you. A very interesting topic indeed. And again, we'll be getting comments and just interacting with the people on our Facebook Live and also on our Zoom platform if bakhona abantu abalapho who want to interact. So I think I'd like to give you a deep into that you have prepared for us, and then we'll interact as could be presentation. Yeah.
Okay, so so personally with me, in my little corner, as trying to make the world a better place. So I've actually registered a non-profit organization wherein the aim is to build houses for our poor families, impoverished families in South Africa, to build houses for orphans. You do know that in our communities, we've got quite a number of children that have lost parents and actually have nowhere else to go, or sometimes in our communities, they're taken in by community members and raise them in as part of their families. So we're wanting to build houses for such children as well, orphans, and then also the people living with disabilities. Disabilities which enable them not to be able to get work, and they have to solely depend on social grant. So now then that actually increases the poverty on their end because of the situation that they're in terms of health as well. There's also other people that you would come across that have chronic illnesses and they're not able to get jobs. And now we find them, some of them have access to getting social grants, but most of them do not, for many factors, such as not having the right identity documents, which would enable them to be able to get a social grant. So those are the people that we're wanting to stand in the gap for. We do know that, we do understand that government has actually set up a lot of platforms which can actually assist our people. But as the fact of the matter is that reality, that government doesn't actually get through to everyone. There are people who are still lacking, and there are families who are actually still sitting on government waiting list. From I think up to from 1996, they're still on the waiting list, hoping that government at some stage will actually build for them houses. And they're still on the waiting list. Instead, when government changes, there's actually another new leadership which actually makes promises to them that doesn't get delivered. So those are the people that I want with this NPO to be able to help to build houses for them. So the vision for me is to actually use crowdfunding. By using crowdfunding, we actually going to go back to the public to say that in your little corner, you do have someone or someone close to heart that you would want to assist. There is a situation that you may come across, maybe in the community that you're part of, and wanting to help but don't know how. Or maybe not have the enough resources to actually help or change the situation of such people. So through this organization, then now what we'll do is we collect crowdfunding, wherein everyone can actually donate an amount, wherein once we've collected that amount, we can actually start with one family and building one house for that one family, and know that at least one family with children's lives is actually changed, their future is changed. So what we wanting to do or aiming to do is that at least by the end of this year, we know that at least there's one family that we've built a house for. So we're raising funds currently, wherein we're asking donations from each and every person who can donate, from as little as 300 Rand. And then once we do put together money and we can actually build houses for our people, I think it can actually restore their dignities as well as families and also as children. And it also will increase hope from them as well. And in this way, we will actually be building a safe space for families. So that is what Constructing a Better World is about and what the NPO is about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think it's very interesting indeed, yeah. And now what I'd like to know is, into Yobana, what drove you, Bana, focus mainly on this project that you are doing? And then secondly, into it, are you currently employed somewhere? Because ngendlela that you're saying it seems like it needs a lot of attention, the kind of work, the kind of organization that you started. So I'd just like to know, for someone who is interested but who probably has a 9-to-5, to check into Yobana, would they be able to then be hands-on on something like this? And if you are not employed, is it would you say it's part of creating yourself, like creating a job opportunity for yourself? By that, I mean something like, does it have, you know, I won't say a salary, but at the end of the day, do you gain something with it? So that if there are opportunities like that, then people who are unemployed, who have the passion, can then be able to, you know, kind of venture into what you're doing.
Okay. Personally, I am employed and I work for a telecommunications company that is at my 9 to 5. And then on the side, I do have a business wherein it's in construction. So majority of the projects that I do is new developments. We're in building new residential homes for families. So we're in that construction part, then it works with bonds or actually cash. So that is the one aspect. So, but however, with the NPO, it is the reason why I started it is something that is very personal to me. One is because when I grew up, I was born in an informal settlement in East London called Ngomboni, wherein we had, where I grew up, there was actually no form of proper sanitation. And I've moved from one township to the other in East London, and wherein I was living from one shack to the other. So I've actually been in that position, and I've always wanted to actually, how do I get out of this, and how do I change the situation which we that I was born into? So that's the one aspect where the passion comes from. And secondly is because where I usually, and because of that, when I build houses for now clients in the construction, in my heart, I carry everyone or every family that actually does not have any means to be able to, say, for example, to apply for a bond and build for their own family a house. Now I carry that with me. And secondly, there are people there who would ideally want to have a house, but they have no means. So that's the reason why I actually say, if we can actually join hands together, we can actually change a life for someone else. And in this way as well, we as the community, we are rebuilding our community and changing it to what we want it to be. So it's a non-profit organization. I'm not getting any salary from it. It's newly been registered. So what we're doing at this stage, I think when also another aspect of it is that it is going to create more jobs as well, because once we are starting the project of building, more people will actually be employed in the projects that will actually be helping us to build these houses. So we collect the donations from the public, and also the public then, whoever, say for instance, has got a skill in whether it is plumbing, building, whatever, or painting, none whatsoever, they can actually be part of this organization by getting an employment while we're building these houses for the impoverished families that we wanted to build for. So that's what the NPO is about. And at this stage, because it's still fairly new, we currently do not have any funding. That's why we're actually reaching out to the public to be able to donate. Thank you.
Oh, Zipho, that is very touching. I think the world really needs more people like you, especially young people. And I like the fact that you are driven by what you've experienced. So it's something that is really close to your heart. So I will allow time for questions. I'll get people who want to comment on our Facebook page and also on our Zoom chat. But in the meantime, while we don't have anyone who would like to ask a question, what would you say then are your challenges besides the funding and stuff? What would you say you are one of the challenges, some of the challenges that you've encountered when starting an NGO? and you say that it's fairly new. So I think to share that experience with people would really make it easy for them to, be able to see, even if umuntu had it in mind. So now there's a platform where you have started it, and then it's easy then for you to then give tips and all of that, so that people know what to expect when starting an organization such as yours.
Okay. So the biggest challenge with this one is because of the size of the project that we wanting to do, which is building a house. So the biggest challenge is to get funding or the resources for us to be able to build. There are families as well that have actually written to me personally from the communities that I come from in East London, who have actually said, is there a way maybe you can help me with this and this and that? So that is a challenge wherein you say that as much as I would like to help, but I don't have the means, or I don't have enough resources as an individual. So that's the one challenge that I've actually been faced with. And secondly, the other challenge is that because it is something that is still fairly new and people don't really understand it, so some are actually questioning, is it really something that is real? Is this really something that is for real, or you're just wanting to collect money from the public and then you use it for yourself? So those are the challenges, or say uncertainties, that I've come across since the start of it. However, some of the people that actually do ask or have those uncertainties, I've actually engaged with them on a personal level, to speak to them, just to understand what makes them not to be able to trust that actually the end goal would be delivered. And also another biggest challenge for me as well is that as much as there are small individuals that have started to donate towards the NPO, I also have a responsibility to deliver, so that I can show that what I'm actually collecting is not actually to scam people or to actually rob people off. But now I have a responsibility or a weight over my shoulder to say that at least now, guys, this is actually what your money has gone into. So now what I've actually been planning to do is that on social media, I will be going on the page as well, wherein I provide updates, wherein people can keep, because this is a collective initiative. So people would be updated as to what is happening, how far the project is, or how far we are as the organization in terms of actually collecting the funds, and are we actually meeting the target that we're wanting to meet. So every aspect or every challenge that we come across, I will be documenting that and sharing it in the respective platforms that we've actually set up for the NPO. Thank you.
Okay, we haven't had any questions yet on the Facebook page, but I think I like the of creating job opportunities. So when your NGO then starts to work kakuhle, then you'll be able to then create job opportunities for the unemployed, which I think is a very good initiative, given the fact that njengoba ubuschilo, government cannot, really be able to capacitate all of us in terms of job opportunities. So it needs nyani minds to then sit up, stand up, and look for other ways to then make a difference in the world. So I think again, how important is it for you, okanye? Because sometimes I think as young people we do have the visions, we do have the ideas, but you get that it's really hard for them to actually bathathe ezo lentuka zabo, those ideas zabo, and make them a reality. So how would you then say, how would you you motivate young people who do have ideas of changing the world, but who are not actually going for it.
Okay, so so for example, with this NPO, how I see it is actually bigger than just building a house. There's so many aspects that our people or our communities go through. Like, for example, in one household, like in this one family that, say, for instance, we're wanting to build a house for, there could be there a child that probably, or a child or a parent that has a mental disability, or actually has a mental or a health issue. Wherein now, if, say, for instance, with the high unemployment rate that we have in the country, we do have quite a lot of unemployed graduates that are coming from social work, that are coming from occupational therapy, that are coming from nursing, that are coming from quite a lot of professions which can actually, we need those skills in such homes. There's also in some household or in our communities wherein we say that there are parents who have maybe chronic illnesses like strokes and things like that, that is brought upon by how their children are behaving or misbehaving, and they would need maybe an intervention of counseling, things like that, whereas we don't have the means or access to such facilities. Now, if we know that there's an unemployed graduate there who studied maybe psychology, then could come in and provide counseling to such families. And so that we know that we're not only dealing with only the household aspect of it, but we are dealing with quite a number of factors that contribute to us having unhealthy households in our communities. So it's quite big. The vision is quite big, and that's why it needs quite a lot of involvement from us as a community as well, and everyone else to actually take ownership of it, to say, this is how I can contribute or do better to actually help grow this NPO. So at this stage, if, say, for instance, there's anyone who has any sort of contribution that they can to actually help us grow and to actually help us get to our goal and achieve what we wanted to achieve, they are welcome to engage with me directly, and then we can see how we can maybe partner and we join hands and they become part of the NPO as well, so that we as a collective then can achieve the same goal. I understand that, or I also have a belief that each and every one of us actually wants a place where we could be proud of. We want to say, I come from this community, and in my community, this is what we do. In my community, if, say, for instance, I'll never go to bed hungry, because we are a community which actually helps each other. So those are the things that we need as a collective. And those are the things that this NPO actually needs: the skills, the mindset, the creative mind, and everything else that we can contribute as people of South Africa in it.
Yes, well said. I'm looking at the Facebook page, and we still haven't have anything yet. And I'm really a bit sad, because this is really something that I feel like it's I don't know how to say it. I don't know the word to really pin it on, but it's something that we really need to venture in, that we really need to look closely in, especially young people, because I think we have the drive now to be able to make a difference in the world. So we also are the people that currently have resources. Some of us know people who might help. Some of us, know people who can, but we we are really the generation that is supposed to now be taking things to their own hands and just trying to, shape the world to make it better, So we haven't have any questions yet or comments again in the Zoom, in the group. So maybe as time goes by, because we still have time, people will then, listen, catch up, and then talk to us. So also, are you working alone kule organization NGO yakho? I know you said you have people in different, sectors who are willing to assist and stuff, but I'm asking in terms of ownership, are you, the only one who owns this NGO, then you rope in people to assist, or you have another person that you are hands-on with in the organization?
Okay, so in the organization, I've got so to register an NPO, you cannot register it alone. You have to register it at least a minimum of 3 people in. So what I've done is I've actually invited my partner to join with me, and also a family member that can actually be part of the registration. However, when it comes to now resources or anything else in terms of the work, I've also included some of my friends, like in the circles that I'm in, because of knowing what their professions are. Like, for example, if I know that you're a nurse, you're a pharmacist, you're this and that, you're an educator, you are this and this and that. So I actually have spoken to people that are actually in my circle. We're in now, as the project starts, then each and every one of us will be working together to actually help these families, to say that, okay, so if we see that in this one specific family, maybe there is a gap in maybe education and things like that, I can pull in a friend to come and maybe assist maybe with either tutoring the kids to help them then to get to grasp with whatever they're challenging with in the education space. If there's nursing, I do have a friend that's in nursing that I can actually pull in. When it comes to any other things, like, for example, social work, however, there is still more room for everyone who can actually say, if anyone wants to volunteer, they are welcome to do that. I believe that there is a room for everyone, for all of us to actually be part of this. There is big enough space for each and every one of us to play, because I do believe that each and every individual can actually bring something of value in any aspect of the project, or in any growth, or any contribution towards the NPO developing and growing bigger. So anyone that actually wants to be part of, they are welcome to contact or to reach out to me, to let me know, to say, Zipho, okay, this is maybe what I would like to participate in, or this is how maybe I would like to donate maybe my time, or whatever it is that they're wanting to donate, then they're welcome to reach out to me. However, at this stage, because we're wanting to build a house, the focus at this stage is for us to be able to collect as much money to build at least one house for a family. And then at least when that one house is there, then more rooms will be open for each and everyone that wants to play the part.
Okay, so you mentioned that to register an NGO, you need to not be one person. You need to have, like, people working with you. So what other aspects of registering an NPO can you assist with, if other people are in the process and don't know exactly how to go about it? So what other things do you need to actually be a qualified organization, NGO?
Or a registered NPO?
Yeah.
Okay, so I like how the CIPC has actually digitized everything. In the beginning, it was quite hard to register an NPO, because you would need to go in at their business offices, and then stand in long queues. Then they send you back for whatever information that is required or documentation. So now everything is actually online. Each person can actually go on the CIPC website, and then you can just create yourself as a profile for yourself. And then once you've created a profile for yourself, you do need to have some sort of money to register. One, to reserve the name for whatever business that you're wanting to register, or an NPO. So you need to pay. I'm not quite certain as to how much is it. I think it's 75 Rand, if I'm not mistaken, to register a name. And then after registering the name, then once that name is approved or that name is available, then you go to the next step. Now, the next step being the registration of the NPO or the business you're wanting to register. Now, that also, but it takes, I think you can actually register everything and put it together maybe within a week, because everything now is digital. But it's just that you need to have all your documents with you, which is now the IDs, and then also the proof of address of whoever that's going to be a director in that organization. And then also what actually is nice is that they've actually put all the things in there for you. Like, for example, if you're wanting to open a bank account, it's just a click of a button in the same platform in CIPC, wherein you can say, after registering the company, now your company is now been registered. They send you documents on your email, and then once that is done, you can actually click in the button and you register for a bank, and then you register for SARS, and everything else is actually there in the same platform. So I actually enjoy that, and I must say that it actually has made the registration process quite easier and more and less problematic than it used to be in the past.
Okay, I think, yeah, it really is, at least now, easily accessible when it's available on online platforms, and especially because a lot of people don't have time. If you have a 9 to 5, to go to the actual offices and get the documents and stuff. So it being online is actually a very viable and nice move. But we still don't have any questions on the Facebook chat. So I'll give you time to then add to your presentation if there's something that you want to add to your presentation.
Okay, so I've actually captured or spoken to everything that I would have wanted to speak about. The only thing that I think I want to actually do is to encourage everyone to donate from as little as they can, because any donation or any contribution will actually make a difference in someone's life. So just to encourage each and every person to donate towards the NPO, and also to actually share the information or share more information about this NPO in their circles as well, so that we can actually, as a collective, quickly reach our goal of building the house, or actually getting to the amount that we're wanting to collect. So the more we share and the more we donate towards this, the quicker then it becomes for us as the NPO to be able to actually deliver. Thank you.
Okay, so for people who would want to donate, where can they get you?
Okay, so if anyone wants to donate, we do have a banking account that I've set up. So on my one, they can start following me on, I've set up a page which is called Constructing a Better World. In that page, I share the details, the banking details of how each and every person can actually donate. So if they can start following that page or following me personally on my Facebook page, then I can actually share the details. So there's banking details which each and every person can donate to. So I share the banking details there on the Standard Bank account with our account number, and that's how they can actually donate. So the donation can be from a minimum of maybe 300 Rand and up. And then I think that would make a difference.
Oh, okay. No, I think that's people will indeed try to, help out. So coming to the name of your Facebook account, and actually the topic for today. I know you've said that it's something that is very close to your heart, and it's something that you feel might be able to assist with what you've been through. So tell us more about the name, and how you then put up the name, and what do you think is going to capture people with the name that you have decided to go or call the project with?
The name being Constructing a Better World. Okay, so because the objective or the mandate that we're wanting to do is to build houses, I didn't want to say build a better world. To me, I felt that when you are constructing something, you are more involved in it. So there's a lot of aspects that you get involved in from an emotional perspective. You get involved in whatever you are constructing. Also mentally, you put your entire being in anything else that you are constructing. So that's why I came up with the word constructing a better world. And also because I wanted each and every person to feel part of what we are doing, because of the model that we are using as well, is that we are actually going to say we are putting our hands together to build. And whatever in construction, you cannot build alone. You build as a collective. When you construct a house from ground up or anything, you do that as a team, as a collective. So that is why I actually came up with that word, because I believe that this is not only about me. It is not only something that I can achieve alone, but it is something that we can achieve as a collective, and it is something that we as a community, we can at the end of the day say that we are proud of. It would be something that we know that we as South Africans, we have a legacy for our children and for the next generation to come, that with NPOs like this, we know that they actually are there to reconstruct and to restore whatever it is that was broken in our communities, whichever that was ever taken away from us. But now by coming together and joining hands and actually saying, no, you know what, we are the ones that are actually going to rebuild our communities and make them to be what we want them to be, then I think then that is a group initiative. You can only go as far alone, but if you want to go far enough, you can actually go as a collective and as a group. So I think that's where the name now comes from.
It's a very well thought name, and I think it's very deep when you then tapping into it. And truth be told, Nyani, you really can't do better alone. Working together makes things more easier, and it gives a solid impact, when it comes to working together and just, making change in the future together. So I'll give you time now for your last words or your closing remarks, and then we can then close off this session. We still haven't had any comments or questions in our Facebook page. So I'll give you time for that. And then if after that there's still nothing, we can then just close off the session.
Thank you. So I think as a closing remark is to actually encourage us as young people to say that in what you're good in, or in the skill that you have, come back to your community, or come back and plant it to actually change your world. You can be good in anything. You can be good in speaking, you can be good in whatever, but for us to actually change how South Africa could be, or how the world would be, it also needs us. It needs us to actually go back and say, I am good in this, but I don't have maybe the resources. But I do know that with a collective, I can actually apply those resources in my neighborhood. I can apply them in my community. I can, we can actually help people for free. But some things do really need resources. So it's just to encourage our young people to have an open heart and an open mind to not limit themselves in anything that they're wanting to do. And in anything that you think is in whatever idea that you may have, don't negatively discourage yourself that it is not something that can change the world. And also to say that if there's any person who actually has access to assisting with funding, NPOs such as ours, please do that. You can actually reach out to us and let us know. And then also if there's, and also to request anyone that is actually on this platform to encourage them to also donate towards this initiative, because if we don't support initiatives such as these ourselves, then we set them up for failure. So we, as the people that wanting to change the same communities that we come from, we need to actually hold these organizations that we've come about to actually say that, yes, this is something that is part of our community. It is coming from our people. It is coming from us. So can we then pride ourselves by taking it forward, by being the first to donate, by being the first to promote it, by being the first to actually say that we are in support of this, before we can actually depend on platforms wherein you say that you can actually write for funding in something else. So just to encourage everyone to donate and to also be open to giving. By giving, I think the truest essence of living your truest self is to actually give. And we actually find ourselves more, or get to know ourselves more, by serving others. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. So there is a question that is asked on the group, on the Facebook page, that says, what barriers have you encountered in the construction industry, especially as a young Black woman? And I think, again, I'm also interested to know, at school, what did you do as someone who's in construction? You know, what did you study?
Okay, so I didn't study anything that is related to construction or building. So I actually did, in my high school, I did accounting, commerce, business economics, and commerce subjects. And then in university, I did a course in information systems. So then I started also working in information systems organizations or telecommunication companies. So that's where my profession comes from. And then in terms of moving or getting into construction, I got into construction because I started revamping my home, which is my dad's house. So that's how I started to get into the construction business. So I did that project at home, and then from then on, then I started maybe doing small quotations for renovations and things like that. Then that's how I ended up into constructing residentials or new developments. So that's how I ventured into construction. So I didn't study a construction or civil, anything like that, that could lead me into construction. And then the challenges, however, that I have experienced as a young person in construction, one, the construction industry is an industry which needs very high capital to be able to succeed. So if, say, for instance, you don't have any capital, your business sort of like becomes stagnant. So it becomes domain, you can't actually build, or you can't do anything. You can't start any project without having capital. So that's one challenge that I've come across. And then another challenge that I've actually come across is that majority of the projects that I've done is actually, I'd say 80% of projects that I've done is not for Black people. It's actually from mostly white or any other races. Now, which is something that makes me feel uncomfortable about, because you would want to have your people be your first clients and trusting you to actually build houses for them and things like that. So there's been a lot of uncertainty from our community. That's one of the challenges we're in. Like, you can actually give a quotation for a house to the same client or the same advisory to a fellow person like me. However, they would not trust that I will deliver to the quality that my fellow competitors, which is now a white person, would do. So they would rather go to a white development than to me. So those are the major challenges that I've actually experienced, and it's something that makes me uneasy. But other than that, it's also something where I feel sort of like a slap in the face that I am a Black person in construction, and I want to build beautiful houses for my people. However, the same people that I have the desire to build for don't actually trust that I can actually do that. So if the trust then comes from someone else, then so those are the major challenges that I've experienced. But other than that, it's been capital, and also the trust from my own people, and also the support from them, expecting that if I ideally want into a project, or I go into a quotation, I can give you a quotation with the same advice, but then you would side with someone else who gives you the same advisory that I've actually given you, but somehow you value them over me. Yeah, so those have been the challenges that I've come across in the construction industry.
Quite interesting that you mentioned this part of capital, and especially Nale part that you're saying of, being a Black woman in construction. So I'd like to know, generally, mostly, construction is a white, male-dominated industry. So what advice can you give to someone who's trying to break into the industry? And then secondly, you mentioned the fact that the trust within your people, within our people, is rare. It's it lacks if ichiwo. So how do you deal with the tight competition in that space?
So a few actually that have actually come back to say, you know what, Zipho, what you told me was true, because I've actually heard the same thing from the other developers that I've actually consulted. So after being disappointed on the other end, they always they sometimes come back. So which is something that makes me more hopeful that okay, maybe it's something on their side, that it's something that I need to get used to. And in any case, in any business, you cannot have expectations that each person is going to buy from you. Everyone is going to buy from you. So that's something that we need to actually have an open heart about. And then also, another thing, I would say that anyone that wants to come into construction need to have capital. Otherwise, you won't make it. So without capital, because every project, you can't actually start anything without having capital. So it's actually very hard. And then if one is not careful, you can actually go into debt because you're trying to get as much capital as possible, of which that is not how you would want to start a business. You would want to start a business where you know that it will generate a profit. So whoever wants to come into a business, I would say that just make sure that you do raise enough capital to be able to start the business or to be in construction.
Okay, I think I'm very interested at your story on how you actually ventured into construction. Yeah, well, so I just want to know about, so for you being someone who did not study you did not study in the field of Lenda or Uyo, how long did it take for you to like break into the industry?
I think it took me 4 or 5 years before I could actually start having a project. So, which was very hard because one, it required me to partner with quite a lot of like to subcontract. And then also it also was very hard in the sense that initially when I started it, I was more, how can I say it? I was more pro-Black, that I want all Black companies to be part of the construction or subcontractors that I'm going to use. However, that's also another challenge that I've actually come across wherein that they've actually, the ones that we partner with, maybe whether it's a plumbing company or electrician, whatsoever, they tend to not deliver to what you expect them to. So those are also challenges that you come across. But however, you can actually strategize to put each and every person together. There are people who are good in certain skills like plumbing, which is something else, and then there are others that are not good in it. So you need to also have an open mind that whoever I partner with may not give me the best product that I want. And then that also affects your product, your end product as well, when you have to deliver to the client. So there's been also trial and error, wherein you'd find that you built the house, but because you've used a subcontractor that was not really good to what they were doing, then you'll find that there's quite a lot of complaints that are coming from clients and things like that. But what makes me proud is the fact that even if you have actually finished building the house for a client, the relationship does not end there. They still have access to me. So if there's anything that they're not happy about, or they come across anything in their house, which could be, say, for instance, a leak or anything that they find a crack on the wall and things like that. So they have that relationship with me where they can actually contact me to say, Zipho, this is something that we've picked up maybe far along after moving into the house down the line. So you actually go back because of that relationship and because this is your project and this is something that you actually, so your project is more like your baby. So you actually want to go back and actually make sure that it is well looked after. So those are the things that actually make me say that because I have relationships with my clients, then I can actually go back and do what is needed. So then it also irons out anything else. But I think that what experience is the best teacher in actually anything. So you can't expect that you will start a construction company now, and then within 6 months you're booming. So you need to allow yourself to make mistakes and to also grow, because that is how we grow, and that is also part of the journey. But the one thing that I can say is to not give up, is to keep trying, and you also keep trying to perfect your craft. I think each and everyone, when it comes to doing something, they've got something else that they wanted to do. So the house that I will build will not be the same that is being built by a competitor. Mine will have my sort of myself in it, because it is my craft and it is something that I want to give to the customer. So you also need to, when you're doing business as well, don't leave yourself out of the business as though you're not part of it. When you're doing any business in whatever that you're doing, or any encounter that you have with anyone, you also need to consider that it is you that is involved there. So don't ever forget to bring a sense of yourself in whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so being in the industry and working in the industry, would you consider it being something that you'd want to study? And then we mentioned into your gender when we were speaking about this. Would you then do you feel like women, or Black women, are represented in the industry?
I would say they're not represented enough, but it's male dominant. Even if you're Black, you'd find that it's males, mostly males that are there. And I always console myself and say, I think probably because we women don't want to we don't want to take risks. Like, for example, going on site where they are throwing bricks and everything over your head is quite risky. So it's not something that maybe many of us as women have the heart for. But I do hope, and I do know that me being there does not mean that I'm the only one that's going to be there. And I'm definitely not going to be the last. More opportunities are coming in. And there's also quite a lot of women, especially in Joburg and other provinces, and also KZN, that are venturing into construction. So the market is growing. Yes, it is growing slowly for women, but the room is there and it's growing. And I think within the next 10 years, there would have been much more difference when it comes to women in construction. And that's also something that the government is passionate about driving, wherein they're encouraging more women to go into construction. They've even supporting, I think they've got a forum, I forget what it is, I think it's women in construction or something like that, wherein it's dedicated solely to empowering women that are in construction. So there's definitely room to grow, and there's more opportunities for each and every woman out there. It's just that we need to trust ourselves that we can do it, and we need to be brave enough to say that I'm going to do this. We're going to do it in any, to me, if it was up to me, I would say women should be in construction, because we build homes, we make homes anyway. So why can't we build them from ground up? So, yeah.
Okay, so would you be interested in studying it?
Yes, I would, but it's just that not now. Right now, I'm still perfecting the experience, and then now in the experience, then it would be much more easier for me to go and study it, because it will be, I would know this is that. So I think maybe probably in 2 years' time, I will actually consider it.
Okay, so I think this is a huge challenge to women, because I know that we can do it. So there are people who really probably have the passion that you have when it comes to construction, and more of them just need to realize their potential. So I think this was a mouthful session, Sis Zipho. Thank you so much for joining us for this session and just sharing with us, your experiences things and this wonderful initiative that you've come up with. So I'm hoping that uThixo will then aphefumulele ebantwini so that they'll be able to, assist you and just make, your vision like a reality. So I'm wishing you very good luck with that project. And you've left your details so people will be able to then, reach out when they have things that they want to, share with you. So I'll give you so that you can just, say your final words up until we really, really close this session.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Andisa. So just in closing for me, what I would want to say is that the Constructing a Better World is not only an NPO that wants to build homes for Eastern Cape alone. It is actually for every province in South Africa. So we're wanting to start first in Eastern Cape because I am from there and I believe that charity begins at home. However, as we grow, we are going to go to all the parts of South Africa wherein we are able to stand in the gap. And then also lastly to say thank you to everyone that has actually made pledges. Some have actually sent messages as we are on this live to make a commitment to say that they are pledging. And then also to encourage those that are still interested to do make a donation towards the NPO. It is something that we actually going to be sharing every journey with the entire South Africa on our platforms, and everyone will get to see how the project is going and how we're aiming to do it up until the end goal. So thank you very much. I am also asking for the support of the entire South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Zipho. I'm happy to hear that at least we have people who are really coming through and pledging to assist you, even though they're not, really communicating in our live chat. But I'm really happy to know that at least there's something moving after this live. So thank you so much for joining us, Sisi. So let's pray and then close the session.
Thank you.
Siyabulela Thixo for uba uhlale nathi namhlanje. Sibulela Thixo namandla onke for reaching out to abantu Thixo namandla onke ngale project. Sibulela ke Moya Oyingcwele for making sure that Thixo namandla onke abantwana bakho Thixo wethu abalali Thixo namandla onke bengatyanga, abahlali Thixo namandla onke bengenazo indawo zokulala Thixo wethu. Sicela ke Thixo namandla onke ukuthi uqhubeke Thixo namandla onke ungene ezinhliziyweni zabantu ukuze abantu Thixo namandla onke realize into yokuba Thixo siyadingana in changing and shaping the world ngale ndlela esifuna ibe yiyo ke Moya Oyingcwele. Hlala ke Thixo nathi usithambisa ngqelise ke Thixo wethu, sithi naxa silala Moya Oyingcwele silale kamnandi, sivuke Thixo namandla onke, sicinga Thixo namandla onke nge-mission work yakho ke Moya Oyingcwele. Hlala ke usindisa usithambisa ngqelise, uhlala usezinhliziyweni zethu ngawo onke amaxesha ngalo wasifelayo uYesu Kristu inkosi yethu. Amen. Ufefe likaYesu Kristu, uthando nobudlelwane boMoya Oyingcwele bungahlala nathi sonke ngoku kude kube kunaphakade. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Sis Zipho. Good luck on your project.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Andisa. Cheers. Goodbye.
To everyone watching the live, this was Sister Zipho Robiyana. Uchilo ke bawufumaneka phi on her social media pages. So do interact and do check out that page. From me, Uyandisa Dlembula, it's a wrap until I see you next time. Thank you so much and good night.